Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Phenom Boxing AP5 mini air pads. So check it out. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I am doing a review on these Phenom Boxing AP5 mini air pads, or mini air mitts if you want to call them. These retail for $139. They're manufactured in Pakistan. They utilize full 100% genuine leather construction. They come in two colorways. The colorway I have here, which is very similar to the gloves I reviewed, as well as the headgear, is going to be sangria, which is basically a maroon. They also have this in black. It only comes in one size, dimensions wise. It is about 7.5 inches across in width and about 9 inches in height from top to bottom, and about 2.5 inches in thickness. As far as the profile of these mitts, I would say they're right in the middle. They're a good balance between being more of a protective mitt. By protective, I mean for the coach that's holding them. Sometimes you get mitts that are really small. I did a review on some Russian boxer tactical mitts a couple of months ago, which were great for feedback and pop, but not so much for, I guess, support for the boxing coach. And oftentimes coaches over the years will incur, I wouldn't say injuries, but they get a lot of wear and tear on their forearms and their shoulders from holding the mitts, and that's why you're starting to see a lot more alternatives to punch mitts. You have like the punch paddles, the punch sticks, and those are basically there to help alleviate the traditional style of using pads or mitts, if you want to call them. Now, when you're looking at this design-wise, obviously it comes as a pair. They're not handed in the terms of one is left-handed and one is right-handed. You can use either one for either hand. But one thing I will note is when you're looking at it is that the Velcro straps go the opposite direction. And for me, even though they don't designate which one is left or right, when I put them on, I always like to have the strap. So this is going to be obviously my left hand. I like the strap to go to the outside. It's almost like my hand wraps. When I wrap my hands, I always like to go in the direction outside of my hand. And that's the same instance with the Velcro strap. I like to go to the outside rather than to the inside when you lock it down. So this is a personal preference for myself. But that's the only really key difference between the two, is the direction of the Velcro. It is all one solid color, has a very clean look to it. You do have the Phenom logo that is embroidered into the crown portion of the mitt right there. You also have some perforation right here on this upper portion, the stitching, full leather. The leather, I'd say, is more of a satin finish to it, which is really nice. They do have some of that wrinkling you can see when the mitts compress down, and we'll kind of go into the air pocket feature here in a second. It is an enclosed mitt, meaning that your fingers are not exposed. On the inside right here where your fingers slide into, you do have a mesh inner liner that goes over your fingers, and then you also have ventilated holes on the finger slots right there. You have the Velcro strap, which is about, I'd say, 1.5 inches with Phenom that is embroidered. You also have a plastic D-ring clip with the stitching right here that keeps that nicely locked in. Velcro on that side, and then you also have the leather laces that go to the bottom portion of the mitt at the bottom, and then the hand pocket. You have a really nice soft foam on the back of the wrist. I'd say is about 1/2 inch in thickness, and that offers a lot of comfort when you slide your hand in there. Now, rotating to the actual punch surface, you do have the Phenom logo with that circular target that's stitched in there right there. And you can see I've been using it, so you're starting to get a little bit of wrinkling right there. One thing I do recommend with this mitt, if you do get it, is to clean this surface off and condition it with leather conditioner, because what I'm finding is happening, and you can actually see, is that the foam that's used in here is a denser foam, and then you have the leather that lines that foam. And what's going to happen over time is once you start getting more sweat, which has salt in it, over this is going to start to crack, and you can start to see the wrinkles start to really leave the impression into the leather right there. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to use leather conditioner, clean it, and then use leather conditioner to try to keep this leather supple, especially on the hard surface that they use for the foam. And you also have an air pocket that's integrated, and what that basically does is that you get the good pop and feedback that you want as a person that's hitting it, but for the coach, it absorbs the impact very well and disperses the force. And you can actually hear it when I squeeze into the actual mitt, and you can actually hear the air pushing out of the mitt. So that's the whole purpose of that air pocket, is to be able to kind of absorb the shock of the punch and disperse it to where whoever's using it is not constantly feeling the force, or at least the complete force, coming into their shoulder. And you know, when you're holding the mitts as a coach, you're hitting it, boom, 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 and say they hit like a hook, you know, that's gonna basically help absorb that, and you feel that when you rotate out with your shoulder. So you do have that air pocket, and you can see it's very thick in terms of the amount of cushion you have inside here. Now, comfort-wise, I feel like Phenom does an excellent job. They're one of the better companies when it comes to really making sure that their products are comfortable, and to me that's important. That's probably one of the most paramount things, if not my number one thing when it comes to picking a piece of equipment, is the comfort level. Obviously durability, performance all plays a part into that, but I often find that if something is not comfortable, I'm just not going to end up using it, or if it takes way too long to break in, then I'm just probably going to end up gravitating to something else, just because there's so many other great products out there that I wouldn't want to I wouldn't say waste my time, but spend a lot of time on a piece of equipment that's uncomfortable. And typically, if you are wearing, you know, mitts or gloves that aren't comfortable, you're not going to feel as confident with your power, throwing as powerful as you could, because you're afraid that you might injure yourself, or it just hurts, you might get blisters or whatnot. So I feel like Phenom does an excellent job in terms of comfort. So moving on, you slide your hand in there. One thing you'll notice is that you have a padded, almost like a microfiber mesh on the inside right here that lines up against the back of your fingers. It feels great, really nice and soft, almost feels kind of spongy. I do like that they put the leather channels between the fingers. So what that essentially does is when your hand is in there, your fingers are separated. You can't touch your fingers together, at least this bottom portion where your fingers V, and that keeps it separated. And what that does is when you're holding it as a coach, it offers traction, almost like you're almost able to like bring your fingers together and kind of just grip onto those little finger channels in between each section. So I definitely like those finger channels. And even with the thumb, my thumb is right about here. Again, it also has a channel right there to where you can almost grip and kind of form a really nice type of grip right there. There is no palm ball in this mitt, and to be honest with you, with the way it feels on the inside, it's very supple and soft. I really don't feel that it needs a palm ball. I know that some mitts do have that little lump or that ball in there, so you kind of grip on it. I don't feel like it needs it. One thing I feel like it could benefit from is if it had a wrist pad right here to give yourself a little extra support, just because you have all these other features built into it. But outside of that, they are extremely comfortable. Now, when my coach was holding these for me and I was hitting them, I felt as the person hitting them that they offered a good amount of pop, a good amount of feedback, and as well as talking to him about it and getting his feedback and his opinion, he actually loved these mitts. He actually liked these more than his Russian boxer ones. I think from a coach that is constantly, coaching your clients. So if you have group classes, you have client one-on-one training in between it, you probably have a really full day, right? So I'm speaking to you as if you're a coach, and maybe you have 5 or 6 clients that day and then a couple of classes. You want something that's going to be able to hold up, as well as kind of cut down on the wear and tear on yourself. So I definitely feel that these are an excellent option for that, because they give you good versatility in terms of being able to take the force of the punch really well, offers good feedback. They're extremely comfortable, which is a feature you need, especially if you're on your feet all day and you're working with clients. So I highly recommend these. Out of the mitts I've tried, these are definitely up there, top 3. In terms of just quality. I mean, the stitching on these are great. The leather is very nice, supple. Again, I would make sure to condition them They're super comfortable, they perform well, and overall I'm extremely happy with these mitts. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Phenom boxing pads. I'll see you guys later. Take care.